Joining us now with reaction is Oklahoma Attorney General John O'Connor. AG, thanks for coming on today. We were just hearing Jason Jones' report, and it comes as Newsmax exclusively received some of January's preliminary border numbers. We'll take a look together, essentially finding that border agents encountered close to 43,000 illegal immigrants and more than 14,000 recorded gotaways. But check the dates, January 15th through January 22nd, just 1 week. Talk to me about the numbers that we're seeing here. Do you expect any changes to come from this White House when it comes to dealing with the surge in illegal immigration?
Well, so it has been crazy, really. We went down to the border last week, 13 attorneys general, and to see that our president really is making this a public policy argument instead of a public safety argument. Clearly, this is a national security crisis. And the president of the United States is choosing to be very cavalier with the lives of Americans, including those of us close to the border, like in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and we're showing the photos here now. You managed to make the trip to the border. It's something we have not seen from President Biden, although he did address the border crisis briefly. He said he wants to focus on the root causes of migration. This was said yesterday during a meeting with our nation's governors. Take a listen to this.
If we figure out why they're leaving in the first place, it's not like people sit around and say in Guadalajara, I got a great idea. Let's sell everything we have, give it to a coyote, take us across the border, and leave us in the desert. And a country doesn't want us. We don't speak the language. Won't that be fun?
Again, trying to look at the so-called root causes as to why people are making the journey. What do you make of that plan?
Well, it's great in theory, but the fact is Texans, Oklahomans, people all across the country are dying because of the drugs that are coming across. And when they talk about compassion, how compassionate is it to gang rape the women and then hook them on drugs and then sell them into America? That is not compassion. So it's great that the president wants to deal with why, but we're not going to be able to fix those countries. We need to protect our borders right now and protect Americans right now.
As we're showing images of drugs that Border Patrol agents have gotten a handle on here. You, along with 7 other attorneys general, filing a lawsuit against President Biden, aiming to block this immigration program that would allow some Central American children to legally migrate to the U.S. and reunite with their parents, including those who have pending asylum claims. So the lawsuit says this: the Central American Minors Program defies common sense and is rewarding those who break the law by permitting family members abroad to join them in living in the sovereign territory unlawfully. Tell me more about this lawsuit here, why you think it's important.
Well, a couple things. First of all, the Biden administration is mocking the law itself. They are not just focusing on children. They're focusing on adult males that they're bringing into our country. So, and they've expanded the notion of what parole was intended to be about. And first of all, this Central American law is not a congressional act. The federal government's not been authorized to modify it like it has. Illegal aliens do not have the right under federal law to ask the federal government to bring their relatives over here. I don't think Americans realize that we're letting people in illegally, and then we're going over and flying their families to America on taxpayer expenses, and then releasing them into our society. So it's a mockery of the law, and it's really a disrespect for the rule of law.
AG, when you went to the border, did you speak with some Border Patrol agents? Did they express how they're feeling right now when it comes to the task that they're asked to do?
Well, there's massive frustration. There's massive lack of morale. The fact is, we think of this charade. We have these 28 border crossings and bridges, and we ask for vaccine proof, and we look for criminal background checks. And 400 yards away, unvaccinated criminals are coming in and bringing drugs in. And I'm guilty of thinking that this was a Texas problem. Before I got down there and saw and to prepare for the trip, studied how the Mexican drugs that are coming in through this southern border are infiltrating Oklahoma. There are cartels now that have divided the state of Oklahoma into sectors, and they control that. Oklahoma City, Tulsa are being used as command and control distribution centers for Mexican drugs. Oklahoma law enforcement is impounding and seizing record amounts, like 80,000 counterfeit oxycodones laced with fentanyl sold into Oklahoma. So this is not a Texas problem. We need to support Texas, but this is a problem that every state in the union needs to be very angry about.
Yeah, the drug crisis, something that you point out impacting all Americans. AG John O'Connor joining us on the program. Sir, thank you so much for taking the time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You got
I appreciate it.
All right.